Hello everybody, welcome back. Let's have a look at EOS. I suppose it's all fun and games with EOS, part of the overall EOS journey that we started. And I suppose there's a few people who are probably feeling a little nervous, you know, what's going on? I get messages all the time, what should I do with EOS? Well, for me, I mean, again, yeah, just a recap. The overall thing about EOS was, for me, a simple trade, you know, buying in here and there and everywhere around this zone here. This is the accumulation zone, and then just leaving it, and then topped up around this zone, and then leaving the rest. I did take some profit out around here, between 13 and 14, but I still hold the vast majority of the EOS that I bought down here, and I'm comfortable with that because the end of the day, the overall goal is a lot bigger than this chart. The chart is working out really well. I hear a lot of people said that this will be the ultimate test. Is he going to be right on EOS? Well, I mean, I'm yet to be proven right, but it is working out okay. It's doing okay. So there's two ways we can choose to view this now, but I would choose to view it in the most appropriate way, which is my original way, which is to plan way ahead and view the chart behavior and expect that behavior to play out. It's the only things that we really have. Now, if we look at this, what we see is a very strong but aggressive and volatile uptrend, right? Started the accumulation zone, a big move up, and a massive dump back down. Signal here to suggest this is the long-term uptrend, going to start from here, and we are still very much in that uptrend. There's nothing about this uptrend has been anywhere near cancelled out. The only thing that would cancel it out is if the Chiku span here, this little green line here, if that touches the price action, that would be cancelled out. Or if this blue conversion line goes over this red baseline, that would be also a cancelled out uptrend. So for the moment, again, this is weekly. It takes a long time for these to cancel out. It would take an aggressive dump, and I mean a massive, horrendous dump, and then literally no bounce after that for a period of weeks for this to be cancelled out. So for the moment, it's very much in play still, but the behaviour is very clear to me, and it was after this one. So we had the big move up and a dump down into it. This gave me the confidence to buy back in. Big move up and a dump straight back down again, but our support is the previous resistance. All right, so that's interesting. So then we had another massive big move up and a dump down. Again, a lot of these dumps are initiated by the overall market. I mean, obviously Bitcoin is going down, and we can't really expect everything to be strong, you know, in the face of Bitcoin going down. And these two previous dumps here were caused by market dumps as well. It's just EOS basically emphasizing those market dumps, you know, literally amplifying the sound of that. So if we go from wick to wick, that was a 44% dump. We go from wick to wick here, that was a 50% dump, and currently we're probably a little less than that at the moment. So wick to wick, 43 to a maximum of where I would expect about 51% dump. Right. The reason I call this area here $7.26 as the as a potential and what I would prefer to see area for EOS to dump down to is that would be in fitting with its previous behaviour on the weekly. Resistance flipped to support, resistance flipped to support, and there we go. Should continue that. Like I say, the uptrend on this weekly chart is very much in place, still very strong, even if we dump, you know, 50%, which is, you know, kind of what I'm expecting. Now I know that there is fundamental things taking place with EOS. You know, some new exchange which is due, you know, for release at some point soon this year, from what I understand. But I've not got a great deal of information about it, so that is definitely good. But for me, you know, I'm more interested in the chart, and I will rely upon the chart rather than any anticipation of EOS being utilized as an exchange token or whatever it is that they've got planned in the pipeline for EOS, for that new exchange that Block 1 are creating. Sounds like a big deal, though, I have to say. It does sound like a big deal. And again, another reason why I choose not to sell everything, even though we do have potential areas of supports and resistances. So if I really wanted to, I could try and get clever, but the cleverest thing for me is to buy low and sell high. Scale out a little bit, take some profit. Rude not to, really, when you've done a 4 or a 5x. But generally speaking, you know, my trade for this one is a longer trade, that is going to take, you know, perhaps to the end of the year. And, you know, this chart will launch, in my opinion. It will launch. It will double, maybe triple from where we are at right now. But certainly, if we do get the opportunity to come down to $7.26 or $7.30, wherever it is, roughly around this zone, then I might consider stocking up a little bit more. But buying EOS at this level, no, this is no man's land. This is neither here nor there. Now, if we have a look at the daily chart, there is obviously opportunity to try and catch little bounces here. Then, if we think about the way that this chart is structured here on the daily, yeah, we're at the centre of the Bollinger Band. That's okay. Big move up, crash back down. This is an obvious place to catch a bounce, but it's not going to stop it from breaking down like it has done in the past. We have big move up, broke down below that. 200 exponential even where we got our bounce here. Big move up, broke down below that. Again, the centre of the Bollinger Band isn't the best friend of EOS. They don't have the strongest relationship, to be honest. The weekly chart is what's going to do it, and that is the better way to trade the EOS chart. It's all about patience. You have to be very patient with it, and just mark these areas off in your head if it's something that you wanted to play. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. This is just the way that I choose to view the chart, but it seems very clear and clear cut when you look at it on the weekly. It's a lot neater, a lot simpler, and that's sometimes the best way to play a trade. Very neat and simple. Doesn't mean it has to play out that way, but it does look pretty neat. And if we are expecting further downside with Bitcoin, which I am, then that will lend this chart to further downside, and that is fine, because again, if we were down here already at this stage now, and we're expecting Bitcoin to take a further downside, then yeah, that would be different, because that would imply a change of structure of this current chart, the way that it's behaving. Supports to resistance, resistance to supports, and so on and so on. So if we would have already come down all this way at this stage now, and expecting Bitcoin to come down further, it would make me feel a little nervous, but for the moment it's not. It's okay. And again, the uptrend is still pretty strong. We can have a brief look here at the Bitcoin to EOS on the weekly on its Satoshi pairing, and again, this is showing obviously strength, but it's also not showing any sign of particular continuation from the level that we're at right now. Now, we are quite overextended, we are quite high here, and if we have a look over here, what we see is the money flow index does like to peak at the 80 read. So it doesn't like being overextended on Bitcoin, and this is where it peaks and comes back down. So peak, peak, peak. And if we measure those to these peaks, we got a peak, we got a peak, and we've got a peak. So it would suggest that this is it for now, and this might not be the one of those coins where you could appropriately stack Satoshis at this stage of the EOS run. But if we look at the way that the itchy cloud is forming, at some point soon this is likely to turn green. And if we zoom a little closer, what we see here on the weekly is that we do have an well, you could argue that that's already happened, but it's not crystal clear. Conversion baseline cross. Now that's under the cloud, so that's not the sign of a long-term continuation. That's not how this one would work. But what it would suggest is, once we've got that cross, we could make our way into the cloud, whether it's slow and steady or just sideways. And by the time we've poked our head outside of this cloud, it would offer a bit more opportunity to another further stab up. Again, this isn't, this chart here is not very attractive. I have to say, it's not very attractive at all. We're looking to trade this one based upon its tether pairing, and try and better trade it against Bitcoin is it's not clear enough to do that. But again, we are only looking at the weekly. If we look at here on the daily, we'll probably have a different view on this, which is a golden cross, which is great. That's nice. That's very good. We do have a buy signal here on the conversion baseline, but again, that was all the way down here. Since that's taken place, that buy signal has played out to the tune of 76% to where we're at right now, and 130% to where we have been at our peak. So that is likely to have played out. And when we get these golden crosses, I do generally expect dumps down into them. Doesn't mean we'll hit the exact 200 exponential, but if we were to do that, that would be a dump of 33% versus Bitcoin. 33% is that might be quite a lot if we expect this to come down to where the bottom level of support is. That's 22%. So there is further downside. Golden crosses often get dumped into. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to dump all the way down to here. We could get a wick. Either way, for me personally, EOS is a no-go zone until we see further downside, and then opportunity will call, and we could look at getting back on board again and riding this up to a new all-time high. But again, when the market is downtrending, we shouldn't really expect a great deal from altcoins. We can expect opportunity. We can expect, I suppose, gradual uptrends versus Bitcoin. We've seen that, with quite a few coins at the moment. But as far as massive runs are concerned, this one has done its thing, and now it's time to come down, getting ready for its next big charge to the move up. But it's great, and I'm very pleased with the way it's working out, and I do expect a lot more from it throughout the rest of the year. But that's not without some more significant downside before we take that big leg up. Like I say, you got to look at the weekly on Tether, and it makes everything crystal clear. And all we want to see is this behaviour continue for the rest of the year, and we should have a decent fix on the market. And sometimes it's that simple. Like I say, it's working out so far so good, but not without some major pumpage and dumpage. Anyway, I'll leave it with you there. But if you're interested in learning more, or join my live streams, we do twice a week. We've got the Patreon channel. It's live stream night tonight, and it's £7.50 a month. You get 2 live streams a week, and we're going to be focusing mainly on altcoins versus Bitcoin, and we're going to be thinking about how we're going to crush the market using trading bots this evening. I think that's going to be our main focus. Anyway, other than that, I will leave it with you there. Hope you have a nice day. Take it easy.